Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jason. It's Wednesday, April 16th, 2014, and I'm doing this video to talk about something a little different. I'm going to talk about my swing trades for the months of March and April. Of course, we're still in the middle of April, but usually what I do is I do a review of my trades, and so this video is it's really for me, but I figured I might as well just do this video and post it online and hopefully share some stuff and hopefully you guys can get something from it, and it's still part of my learning process. But um, if you have any questions about anything, just drop me a line. Anyways, this was the first trade of March, so March 3rd. This is the Eurobund, the German fixed income futures market. And I took a short in this area here. Let me just pull up that chart. This is the 5-minute chart for this. Um, and here's what it looked like on the hourly. And the basic idea behind this trade was that we had a major swing point, major swing high, and the market dropped away from that swing point pretty heavily. And what happened was we had this gap here, and the market ran up and tried to break the high, and then we got that rejection off that swing point there. And the basic rule—it's not really a rule, but the idea with gaps is that gaps usually fill eventually. It's sometimes it fills immediately, and other times, it sometimes it just there's what's called the breakaway gap, and the market just gaps and then just keeps on going away from it. But eventually, um, usually the market comes back to it. So I already had that in mind when I saw the gap, looking to find a way to get short in this market. And the best place to get short is when it broke the swing high and failed it. So I have this failure of the swing and the gap fill and the potential gap fill. So that was my case for a short there. And I did have my target down here originally, but I ended up cutting the trade early, and I got out. I'm going to show you the next image here. So this is again the 5-minute chart. You can see where I got in here. I was in 2 contracts, and what I did was I ended up scaling in. I entered 1 contract, and I just wanted to see if I could get a better price for the second contract. But I actually did, but it came really late in the day, and I wanted to make sure I was in the market, so I decided to just enter in a second contract around the same price. You can see what happened. The market actually did get up um, into this area here. And I believe my theory is that uh, just before the market closed, um, for those of you that don't know, the fix the Eurobond, um, it, it it closes and reopens. I forget the time. It's 8:30 p.m. Is when 8:30 their time, UK time, when it closes, and they open up at 7 in the morning. So that's 2 a.m. for me. It's a great market to trade. I would love to trade it. The only problem is that I'd have to stay up from 2 a.m. Onward in order to day trade the market. So it's just not really, unless I lived in the UK. Anyways, we got this little push up before the market closed, and my theory with that is that with the market um, uh, likely to have people getting in this market short, especially after this kind of rejection here, but the market just sort of went sideways for the rest of the day. And a lot of people are not going to want to hold this over the close. And so my theory is that you're getting people that are needing to exit their positions before the market close, which sort of explains this buying coming in right at the the few hours before the close. Now this one was risky for me because I almost never do this, which is to hold a position through the close, because that um, if you trade in a prop firm, they definitely discourage that, which is again something I think that explains the buying that came in here. I was going off the setup. I said, this setup really looks good to me, and I was actually willing to take the risk. So I just went for it, and now the next morning it actually opened with a gap down, which is always a nice thing to see. But I actually closed the trade early, and the reason why is simply because it's for the same reasons that I got short in the first place, was that we had this gap here. So the market actually opens with a gap, and so now I'm thinking, well, I'm in profit, all right, and I now have a humongous gap here, which could potentially fill. And given the probabilities that I could get a gap fill and just give back all that profit, or just take the profit that I'm already in, I just opted to take the profit. And unfortunately, the market did continue much further down. But this is just as strong a reason for me to get long this market. And so once I have that, it's really just a matter of probabilities. And so that was a good trade. That was trade number one for the month of March. Second trade was March 18th. This was gold futures. And you can see where I got long here. That's not what I wanted. Oops. All right, yeah. So I got long right there. And you can see why. Clear area of structural resistance turned support. Price broke through there. And the things that I'm looking at is just the fact that this level is such a good level, but also the way that price broke through it, leaving it broke through it without leaving any chance for bidders, except for here. I mean, it did come pretty close. Some orders got filled there, but I'm looking at this level here, and so I'm looking for some buying to come in on that level. Just the basic idea being you have sellers that have been selling this market, and they're caught in the back foot when the market trades through that. So those sellers are likely to bail when price gets back to that level. So it gives you a really good entry. It gave me a really good entry there. And let me just zoom in here. You can see that's where I got long. And those of you that know me, you know that I like to buy after these nice big red candles. And I also like to sell after these nice green candles. So look where I bought and look where I sold. And my reason for selling here was simply because we were now getting into this area here. It busted through this area of chop, but I was looking at this area and I'm thinking my target was actually up here. But when I saw this big green thrusting candle, and it's so close to my target, considering where I got in. One of the ways that I manage a trade is I will usually take profit if I get a good thrusting candle like that, because usually when you get something like that, you're going to get people that are taking profit off of there because this candle's a gift. It's a gift to those traders that were in long from the beginning, and um, so I took my profit there, and amazingly, it was like literally the top before the market plummeted. Um, so I was pretty happy with my exit. I was happy with my entry too. Um, all things considered, it was a pretty small move. You can see why my target was up here, because we got this area of structural support, which has now turned resistance. And I have no reason to think that the market could break through and continue higher. It might, but I don't have a way of knowing that. So I'm usually going to book profits at the next level that I see. And um, again, when it got here, it was pretty close to my target. So that was trade number two. Let me go on to copper, which was March 20th. All right, and that's this one here. All right, so you're seeing a variety of trades here. This one, a couple things about this setup. Very simple stuff. I mean, it's not really complicated. It's one thing about trading is that just keeping it simple. Keeping it simple really does work. This was a very clear range that we were in copper. The market had dropped into this range and then just started going sideways. And you can see the support coming in this. We have support here, this area here, and then also support here and here. All right, and then the market broke down with some force, and look what happened. It just rallied very strongly, and let me see if I can find. I know I have it here somewhere. I thought I had it. I had a chart of the day. I had a daily chart. But this was this formed a almost a bullish engulfing bar. It actually didn't because it didn't close. At the end of the day, it didn't close above the high here. But it was basically a massive pin bar, and clearly failed to the downside with this run up. So I was looking to get bid, and the funny thing is, I actually wanted to bid down here. And the reason why I drew this line is because this is if you're talking in terms of pin bars, this is called the left eye on the daily chart. It would show up as this is the point where the market found support, broke through that support, but then rejected sharply. And so what happens is, those people that entered short, when they realize that they're wrong here at this point, the point where they're going to be looking to get out is usually the area of support that they were getting in the first place where it broke through. So that happens to be here. And the thing is when I looked at the chart on the daily, I actually I put this order in, and I put it in here because I was looking at this level here, and I'm like, I was actually expecting not to get filled on this trade. And I barely thought I'd even get a fill with it being down here. I said, there's no way this market is getting all the way back down here, and if it does, I'm actually going to be concerned because, why is it coming all the way back down here? Especially after this kind of a massive run up. So I entered this. I said, so if anything, I'll probably get a fill here, and then the market would take off. And Funnily enough, it got all the way down there, all the way down to that bottom, and so I'm in this market. And I'm like, I'm actually a little concerned that I got the fill because that's usually it's not necessarily a good thing if you get the fill that you want. I mean, the fill that I wanted was actually down here. If you get the fill that you want, that's not always a good sign because it usually it means that the market's about to do you over. Um, but the next candle I got, we started to see this push to the upside, and I'm like, okay, well, this is looking good. Um, the other thing, the funny thing about copper is that actually I've found that copper has a tendency to do this kind of stuff, where you would get a really good signal on, say, on the daily chart, and the market will actually it will retrace massively, but it will still go in the direction that uh, you know um, that that you think it's going to go based on what you see on the daily chart or what have you. So it's just something that I had in the back of my mind. So, and that was one of the reasons. If this were any other market, I probably wouldn't have even put an order in, um, because I just don't expect the market to come all the way back there to give me the perfect entry. Um, because if it does, it usually means I'm going to get screwed over. But copper is a little different. Copper is one of those markets where I've just found that it does this kind of stuff. You get a really, really great signal, and it actually comes back. It actually comes all the way back there to give you the fill that you want. And at least it's been doing that lately. I mean, it's not like I've been trading copper for ages. Just something I've noticed in the trades that I've taken. So, of course, that could all change. Markets can change, but um, so, anyways, this trade gave me a little bit. I was a little bit worried because this is what happened afterwards. So this is where I got. This is where I entered. Oops, I keep doing that. Nothing really matters. I need to actually draw a box around this stuff, but it was. So yeah, there was my entry right there. You see the next candle that we get this nice bullish push, except that I end up seeing this wick here. I'm thinking, it's not as strong as I would like to see it. And then the next candle, I start to get this hesitation. So I'm like, all right, well, uh, when I saw this candle, I immediately moved my stop up under here. So my stop was up there, right there. And the rationale is simply because of this candle. If you get a candle like this, I'm not gonna keep my stop all the way down here. I still want to keep it in a place where I feel I'm wrong on the trade. I still want to keep. I'm not gonna move. I'm not gonna move to break even. It's just not the way I trade when I swing trade. Because the market. I mean, it's just the market doesn't know where your break even point is, especially if you're trading level to level. Your stop needs to go in a place where you're actually wrong on the trade, not. If you move your stop loss to break even, in my mind, that's just trading your profit and loss. So I move my stop here because my thinking is that with this kind of candle, in my mind, I'm looking at this candle, I'm thinking, well, this has got to be it. It bounced, it found support here, and so, if it's going to break this candle, then I just don't want to be in the trade. And just save my money for the next trade. Well, the market did this, came all the way back down, and I'm a little concerned because I'm thinking, well, I'm probably going to get stopped out, which is kind of a shame because I was all the way up here in profit. But it found support there, and which is a good sign. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm still feeling that my trade idea overall was correct. Well, the market just went sideways, and I held it overnight. As you can see here, this is the session break was right here, and early in the morning, I ended up getting that last attempt to push to the downside and got rejected. I can't remember if I moved my stop underneath this candle. I think I just left it where it was because it was still, it was, my stop was right there. So moving it up below this candle wouldn't have made too much sense. Um, so now I'm actually asleep at this point. This all happened when I was asleep. But I had an alert set at this level here. You can see the just because I wanted to know if it broke that level there, and I didn't know about this. It actually got a rejection off at this level, but I was looking at this. I was looking at this candle here, and so I just put an alert just because I'd know that I was it would probably be time to move my stop up if it broke that level there. So I had that alert in place, and I got the alert. It was pretty early in the morning. I think it was, I forget when it was. What time was this screenshot? Okay, yeah, 7:26. So this happened at 7:30 in the morning, and the market just, well, there's an arrow. It's the best kind of candle you can see. Is this kind of candle, and you can see that my target was up here. All right, because I'm looking for. I mean, this is my level. This is my take profit level. But I'm looking at this candle, and I mean, this is, again, it's a gift. It's a gift to those traders that were in the market to begin with from the bottom. So am I really, really gonna gamble all of this profit just to make this much profit? And the answer is no. And the thing is that I really can't get my stop into an area where I'm still wrong on the trade. I had my stop underneath. I mean, this is the thrust candle that broke above cleanly through this level here. So my stop is here for the time being because that's when I feel that the move to the upside is probably over, at least in the short term. But when I have this kind of a candle and there's really just no place that I can move my stop, and it is this nice big thrusting green candle, I'm usually going to cut the trade. I think I waited just to see how this candle sort of see what it did. And I think it was towards the end of the hour, and I started to see some hesitation. And I'm thinking, well, I'm likely to get a retrace. And then if I get a retrace, I don't know if it's really, I mean, it could just come all the way back to my stop. I'm well into profit, so I decided to cut the trade. And then look what happened. This is why I cut the trade after these kinds of candles. Again, it's the same sort of thing. If you know me, you know that I like to buy after these red candles, and I like to sell after these green candles. And if you look at this, I mean, this couldn't have been better. I pretty much got in at the bottom. I wanted to get in down here, but I got in pretty much at the bottom of this move, and I got out at the top of this move. Now, the market did come back, I think, down to this area here, and then continued higher. But that's the thing. It's like, I have no way of knowing that the market's going to do that. But I know that after this kind of a candle, this is where I want to. It's the point where you start looking at the chart and you see a candle like this, and your gut just says, wow, this could really, really, really just take off, and you start zooming out to the higher time frames. You look at the higher time frames, and you're thinking, okay, well, where could this go? Where is this market going? And the moment I started to get that feeling, that's usually when it's time to cut the trade. More often than not, that's the time to get out. So just one of those things. All right. Moving on to March 31st. Okay, so now I had this trade here. This was Euro Yen. Um, and this one I got in a little bit late, but I looked at the chart and I realized I got in actually based on price action on this one. And I normally don't do that. Actually, what I normally do is I'll just bid the level blind. If it's a great level, I'm just gonna just place a blind limit order and just leave it in the market. This one I just didn't see, and I was browsing through my charts, and then I saw this level here. I saw that the market had cleanly broken through it, and uh, when I looked at it, it was actually right around, I think it was this candle here. But just looking at the price action, I saw that the market had plummeted into it, and we got some buying, was rejected, but I was also just seeing that this is a pattern I see a lot in scalping, where you see that the bulls stepped in, which is sort of it would have been me if I had bid the level. Bears had come to push the market back down. Selling was already sellers were already in this market. Some late selling coming in here, this wick, um, but not able to really get any traction to the downside. And so I'm thinking, well, this is great. I have a price that's like literally right where I would bid anyways. And the other thing I was looking at was that I have this level down here. Um, so anyway, everything just lined up for a good trade, and so I just jumped on this one, um, and there is something about this level here. I did mark it off. This is not a level that I would actually bid blind um, on its own, and the reason why is because of this. What this wick tells me is that orders were filled on the buy side. Uh, so that concerns me, because what that's telling me is that if price were to return there, what's going to hold this market up? Because all those buy orders have been absorbed. So there's there's a higher chance that there's not as many buy orders waiting here, because they've already been taken in. Those buyers have already been taken in the market. So so when I see that, that's usually a level that uh, I will not bid. Uh, Vice versa for selling. But anyways, this one. Let's see where this one got to. This one just rocketed away. uh, pretty soon after I hit market, and I moved my stop ups because I was already pretty close to target, and I just tucked that underneath the bottom of that thrust candle there. But I did close the trade here, I believe, because it was 2 minutes away from the close of the hour, and I had this. It was close. I was already closing at this nice thrust candle, and I figured, again, it's the same sort of thing. I'm already so close to target, and I really can't get my stop anywhere that really saves me all the profit that I'm already in. So I cut the trade, and it did go on a little further. I can't remember if it didn't quite get to my target, but yeah, it started to reject, and I forget if it later got to my target, not without some back and fill, but all in all, again, when I see a candle like this, especially when it's so close to my target, I will usually just cut the trade, just take the profit. Um, so that was that. All right, now April 1st. Okay, now this one's a losing trade. This one I just got absolutely carded on. Um, this one, like I said, I'd like to. I will bid a level blind, and of course, when you do that, sometimes this happens, where the market will just bust right through the level that you figured was going to hold, and just give you no chance whatsoever. It just absolutely plummets straight through your level, and there's just really no place to get your stop. You can't even like fiddle with it. It's just going straight to your stop, and that was that. I was pretty much out of this trade almost immediately after I got filled. So that was a full 1 hour loss. Kind of a shame. But yeah, and the funny thing about this trade is that later on it started putting some price action. It made it look like this market was going to go bid, but it didn't. It just continued plummeting down. So, anyways, it's a trade I'm happy to sort of forget about. But you can see the reasons why I got in the trade. I was looking at this level of I don't want an arrow, but had that level there, and then just before that, this level. In retrospect, something that I'm finding is that I don't like the levels where you have a level and then it actually busts higher and sort of creates like a little mini level before it, because what's really happening is that the market hasn't cleanly broken out. What it's doing is it's just filling orders in this area here. So, my theory with this at least is that when the market comes back to it, it's not such a good thing because the orders that are in this area I mean, these orders have already been filled. So, I'm sort of conflicted because I still had this really nice breakout out of this area. So I'm thinking, well, I'm probably, might find some bidding in this area. And plus, I still have this level. But all in all, just something that, I'm just keeping an eye on. Um, and if I notice a pattern with it, I'm going to definitely do something about it. But I definitely like the levels where if we had a level like this, where you have this area of structure, and if this had occurred, if this sort of chop had actually occurred underneath that level, I would definitely go bid. No question about it. It's when it chops on the level itself, and it's just something. Yeah, it's just something funny about it. So, anyways, that was that. That was April 1st. All right, and then it was another loser. U.S. Dollar yen, which actually almost the same sort of thing happened where, well, this one I didn't even get a chance with this one either. We had this level here. The other reason why I got in this trade was because because of the daily. We actually had let's see if I can get the right tool here. We had this. Oops. Can I make this a little thinner? We had this selling coming in, forming these wicks, and but price just sort of busted right above that. So I was actually looking at this off the daily chart, and so I noticed the level here. I was looking at it like this. I was like, okay, probably find some bidding coming in here. That didn't happen at all, and yeah, it was the same sort of thing with the crude oil trade I'd taken. Actually, I didn't get anything, any way for me to cut any risk on the trade. It just went pretty much straight to my stop. So, but you can see this was the level I was looking at. I was looking at this level here, and price just sort of burst right out of there. And so I was looking for a retest. And in hindsight with this one, I mean, really, if I had to do this over again, the area I really wanted to be buying was this area here. This area of chop where it would price busted out of there. The pristine entry would have been right here when price traded back into this area. So in hindsight, once that happened, really the move to the upside was over. I shouldn't have been looking to get long after that, especially after I did see this and I felt funny about it. I'm trading against this big bearish outside bar here, and thinking, especially on this day when when I was getting filled on this order, the fact the price was really just plummeting down from this bar, I'm thinking, wow, okay, there's definitely some momentum in this market to the downside. But I was trading my setup. I had a setup, and I traded it, and it goes into my loss column. But you can see the area that I pointed out on the daily, which was this area there. You can see what happened here on the hourly. It's basically the bounce off of this, which I really couldn't put my finger on as being a level that I would trade, but you can see this. You see the price rocket out of there. This is the area that I want to be bidding. You can draw this in different ways. Say that that's this area here, price rocketed out of there. This is the area where people want to rebid the level. But anyways, yeah, I just didn't get that one, and that was that. So okay, last trade here for April. Again, these are all swing trades that I'm taking. Last swing trade for April, and this was. Let me see if I can find this one here. This is my market, the mini Dow. This is the market I trade every day. This one has worked out really well. First of all, on the daily chart, I bought, it was April 8th, which happened to be on the day. It was in the process of forming this candle here. And what I'm looking at is, again, seeing that we had this nice big massive bearish engulfing bar and continuation, and what looked like possible further continuation into this level here of support. Oops, I hate putting the arrow up there. There we go. You can see the support there, and I was looking to go bid after on the hourly chart, looking at the way that same thing, and we had this massive rundown. Oops, wrong arrow. And price found support here. It sort of like formed that support the day before. All right, bounced off that level. And then I remember on this day, on April 8th, it broke through that level, then found some buying, and then broke down again through it into this major area of support, which I think was this level I'd marked off, which would be this, yeah, be that level there. And and it actually broke through and then reversed sharply off that level. So I know that there's breakout traders that probably, broke. This was sort of the last swing low that the market had put in. So it breaks that and then sharply reverse. And this, I'm looking at these two candles here as a bullish engulfing candle. I'm just sort of, it is two candles, but I mean, this move just sort of wiped out this whole area here. So with this move to the upside, I'm thinking, okay, well, what was the area that that people were getting in short, looking for a continuation? Was probably this. I'm looking at this as the left eye of, if you look at this as a pin bar or rejection candle, whatever, what have you. This is the point that had broken, and it did break and stay below it for a little bit, and so it breaks this level here, and then just completely reverses, goes to the upside. And so when the market's up here, I'm thinking, well, where are traders likely to be getting out? The traders that went short, where are they likely to be exiting? So I'm keeping a firm eye on this level here. And this one, what I did was I actually waited for price action to see what would happen. And I got it when the market tried to make another attempt at the downside and then put in this wick here. So I got that rejection off of there. And that was my cue to enter the trade, because one of the ways that I don't do this purely as a rule, but bullish engulfing candles have a tendency to, when you get one, they have a tendency to retrace to about the 50% level. And so that was something else in my mind, that this was pretty much the 50% of this move, and it also happens to have confluence of this level here. So that was my rationale for going bid there, and I tucked my stop right underneath here. And my thinking was, after it already formed this rejection, I'm thinking, you know what, I actually had plans to hold this one as far as I can hold it, because my thinking was that it had a high likelihood of this candle that's forming on the daily becoming a reversal point. So I just kept my stop really tight there, and I was in 3 contracts. I actually took 1 contract off here, which is about the 1 hour mark, and it was on a lower time frame. I forget. There was something in here. There was 2 reasons for doing that. One, we were at a level on the lower time frame, and it's not like I use the lower time frames to help manage my trade. But the thing that was on my mind was that we were coming close to the close, and I didn't want to have so much risk on going into the overnight. So what I did was I actually scaled out 1 contract, and my intention was to actually actually add that contract back in the next morning. But what happened was, I think when I came in the next morning, the market was already up in this area, and so I was thinking, and once it was already up in this area, I was actually questioning whether I really wanted to. I was ready to move my stop up by that point to around here. So I'm like, well, it just doesn't make any sense for me to add in that contract right where I'm probably going to get stopped out. So I just decided to just leave in the remaining two contracts and just let it be. Now the 930 the 930 candle was this one here. And I remember when the market actually right before 930, it was actually trading up here. And I I was thinking about taking profit there, but just because the market was just about to open, and we had these, this green candle here, this green candle here, and what was at the time, it was, this green candle there. And I'm thinking, there's no way that this market is just gonna just rocket from that point at 9:30. Already with it being at a high. I'm thinking there's got to be some selling coming in first, and it's funnily enough, that's exactly what happened. I moved my stop up here, and I'm thinking, if this selling is really going to be for real, and this move is over, then there's really nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to let it come all the way back to my entry point. I'm just going to take some profit here, and that'll be the end of the trade. So I had my stop here, and was actually expecting to get stopped out when this candle actually there was a push up, and then it actually closed lower. I'm thinking, all right, well, this is probably over. But it didn't. The next candle actually gave me this big green candle here, and again, I'm sticking with my premise that I really am going to try to hold this for a move to. I actually originally I was thinking I could try to see if I could run it up into this area here. So if I didn't have that in mind, I probably would have taken profit in the morning at 9:30 when price was already trading about here. When I had a strong feeling that probably wasn't going to just continue from there, is going to put in some sort of retracement. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so liberal with my stop. But I left my stop here, and I just sort of waited to see what would happen further today. And we end up getting this candle here, and then this hesitation, and then this next candle, which just absolutely rocketed to the upside. And now at this point, it was coming close to the close of the market. And I was looking at this level here and thinking to myself, well, all right, we're at the end of the day, and price could continue, but I have no guarantee of that. I am this much in profit. And I really had my thinking was I was pretty much at this level here. So my thought process was that let me get out now before the close. I think got out here though. Started to see just a little bit of rejection on the next. I waited to the next candle. Started to see a little bit of rejection there. I'm thinking, well, all right, I'm well into profit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my trade here, and then possibly re-enter the market. I'm going to go bid at the price that I got out. It would have been this level here. And see if I can continue the trade to the upside. Now, the way the market closed, it actually closed with, or I'm sorry, that hour, that the candle closed on the hour with this kind of a candle, and then just sort of, drifted because of the market close. And And I looked at it, and I had just had this funny feeling about just the fact that I had gotten so far into profit, and the time when I would be rebidding this level would be right when I was sleeping. So I wouldn't really have the ability to manage this trade. If I had rebid this level, my entry would have been, my plan was to bid here, and my stop would just go underneath this thrust candle. Um, but just looking at it, I just couldn't really justify doing that, um, because again, it just comes down to probabilities. I had no guarantee that this market was just going to keep on going. And I asked myself, well, is this a trade? Is this a setup I would take anyways if I hadn't have taken this trade before? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't take it. So given that, I just opted to just pass. And it's interesting because if I had rebid the level, I would have gotten filled, and it really wouldn't have gotten anywhere because I wouldn't have taken profit here. I would have, I think I was looking for this level up here to be my target, and the market just would have taken me out cleanly. And then it doesn't really matter because what happened after that was this massive move down, and that was pretty much the end of the move. So, but yeah, again, you can see the same theme recurring. I am buying after these red candles that you can see there, and I am selling after these green candles. That's pretty much a common theme in the way that I trade. So, anyways, that's just so I can get my thoughts out on paper or on video. um, Hope this was somewhat informational. Hopefully, I'll post some more of these videos. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Safe trading, guys. Take care.